Switch Station 32, back for another review. We finally finished up Days Gone. Put a lot of time into this to get a good review and a good personal thoughts of it. And what do I think of the game? We're going to get into all that. First off, I'll start off by saying I really like the game. The game's fun. There is some technical issues. We'll get into that later on in the video. It's definitely not a 10 out of 10 game, but it is a really fun game. There's nothing wrong with this game to make you not want to play it. The IGN review that everybody keeps talking about is it's complete horseshit in my opinion. It's not accurate to the game in any way. This game is definitely better than what IGN give it, for sure. There's no way that this game is that bad. This game is pretty good. I will say that the first of the game I thought was better than the end. I thought the first of the game, I had no issues with the first of the game. When you start off this first of the game, it was really good. It was really fun. You start off with, you're trying to find you and your friend and your wife, and something happens to your wife, you get separated. I don't want no spoilers for people that are interested in playing the game. You end up getting separated from your wife, and that's how the game, and you have to stay back and help your friend, Boozer. And that's how the game starts. And from then on out, you are looking for your wife. And it does flashbacks to tell the story of how you and your wife got together, and flashbacks for you and your friend, and tell your whole backstory, and it's pretty good. Everybody talks about the story with him and his wife being the attraction. In my opinion, it was for about the first half of the game. I think overall, the story between him and Boozer, his best friend, is a better story than the actual one with him and his wife, for sure. The him and his wife story is really good till about 3/4 of the way, halfway through the game, and it kind of drops off. At the end of it, for that particular story, wasn't as good, in my opinion, and in my fiance's opinion as well, as the story between him and his best friend. The story between him and his best friend was better than him and the wife. At the beginning, both stories were really good at the beginning. The story with him and his friend was good the whole game. And in the beginning, the story between him and his wife was really good. I just thought it dropped off at the end, kind of fell apart a little bit for me. But saying that, I'm sure other people really enjoyed it. Now, there's a lot to do in this game. As far as upgrading your character, there's 3 different things to upgrade in it. You can upgrade your skills, you can upgrade your takedowns, you can upgrade how many bullets and what kind of damage stuff does and how stealthy you are. And towards the end, you're going to be able to upgrade it all. There's not like you're going to have to pick and choose. Towards the end, you're going to be able to upgrade it all, and you get pretty powerful. At first, there's not as many bullets in it as I'd like at the first, and I didn't think I was going to like that, but as it goes and you unlock everything, you end up being, you never have to worry about that. There's one issue I didn't really like about it, like if you had a particular gun and you killed somebody and you picked theirs gun up, even though they would be bullets in that gun where you weren't using it, when you pick it up, there'd be no bullets in it. You couldn't use that gun unless you were using it or go kill somebody and then pick bullets up for the gun. And I didn't like that. It was not really realistic. If I kill somebody and I pick their gun up, the gun's going to be loaded. It's going to have bullets in it until it runs out. I can understand not being able to store bullets for that gun, but to pick the gun up and not have at least 10 bullets or whatever in it, that's not realistic. I didn't really like that. As far as your bike's really fun. It's a really good way to go get around the world, and I like what they did with the bike. It's kind of like, the bike's almost like what your horse is in Red Dead. You use the bike just to get around and get from place to place because the world's so massive, and the map in this game is really big. You're going to have lots of stuff to do besides just the main story. So anybody that didn't like the main story, the actual fundamental game, playing the game, is fun, for sure, without the story. See, if you don't enjoy the story, but you think you might enjoy the gameplay, there's a lot of gameplay in this. There's a lot of replayability in this game to collect everything. If you're a trophy hunter and you want to platinum it. And I don't think it'd take you forever to platinum it. Some people want to platinum a game, but they don't want to put like 400 or 500 hours into it to do it. You wouldn't have to do that. You'd probably be able to platinum this game in about 60, 70 hours. And the main story is about 30, depending on how you play, 40 hours. Yeah, there's a lot of game here. As far as his bike, you can upgrade that. You can upgrade so you don't take damage. And because at first your bike's going to break down and you're going to need to upgrade your bike, especially gas tank. I'd recommend your first thing you do is get a bigger gas tank because you're going to need it. You don't run out of gas all the time. You don't have to stop and get gas. And it's pretty cool that way. And then as you go, you can put nitro on it. You can get a bigger, better motor, faster. And that really helps too, because there's stories where you got to chase people down on your bike. And if your bike's slower than theirs, well, then you better be pretty good at shooting. It's pretty difficult to do if your bike is not as good as the guy you're chasing. Now, as far as getting health and stamina, that's not in your upgrade. Some of it is, but your main part for upgrading your health bar and your stamina wheel and everything is a separate thing, and it's actually really fun. I like that. That was probably my favorite thing of it. The buildings around, and then you have to figure out a way to fire up the generator, put gas in it, and go get a fuse and fire up a fuse panel and get into it and figure out the puzzle. And there's always a horde around them. So you have to get in there, and then you choose one, either stamina, health. It's really up to you what you choose. I'd say go health at very first and then go stamina, just because when you go into the hordes, they're pretty hard if you don't have health, if you ain't got a good health bar, but they're also hard if you can't run from them. So it's really up to how you want to play the game, really. I went with health and then stamina, and it worked out for me, but it depends on how you don't play the game. In my opinion, that's the funnest part of the game, as far as doing something that doesn't involve the story. I really enjoyed doing that. As far as the issues I had in this game, there was one issue where we went and the bridge was gone and cars were floating in the air and stuff like that, little glitches. And then I fell down and then I floated up in the air and I died and came back. When I came back, it was okay, but even if you turned the console off and you went back to that particular spot, there were still issues with it. It wasn't as bad, but it was still issues with going over that bridge for whatever reason. So it was kind of awkward doing that, but I ended up being able to do it. It was just, the glitch was, it was kind of funny though. It had a little character too, but it definitely wasn't as well polished as something like God of War or whatever, like Sony's been nailing out of the park with these first party exclusive titles where there is no issues at all with them. The issue that really hurt the end of the game towards the second half of the game, where I said the first half was more polished than the second half, I think what they wanted to do was get the game out. I think they knew the end of it had a few issues, and I think they're hoping by like a couple of days they'd be able to put a patch out and fix them problems at the end, maybe. Because one thing that really ruined the story for me and my fiance towards the end was there was main stories and the voices didn't even match up with what they were doing, and not by like a few seconds, by like about 30 seconds. And that really messed up the experience, really, because you're not just sitting there getting involved in the story. You're sitting back talking about, laughing and making fun of it, really, instead of getting immersed into the story. And it was like someone would get hit, and then about 30 seconds later you would hear the smack of them getting hit. And almost every video package, for I'd say about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours after that, was messed up. And I turned the PlayStation off and loaded it back up, and it was still the same way. Then after about that 4 hour mark, 3 hour mark, it went back to normal and it didn't have no more issues with it. Now, I don't know if a patch fixed that or if it was just that one section of game that was messed up on mine. I assume other people must have had this issue as well, but when I played it, it wasn't as well polished. I'm sure Sony and Ben Studios gonna put out a patch to fix these issues, because there really are small issues that can be fixed. Like matching the voices up and stuff, that's gonna be an issue that they can put a patch out for. That's one thing when you buy these big AAA games and you get it day one. Sometimes you're going to run into issues. Sometimes it's almost better to wait a month or two until they go on sale, and then they have the patches out and you're not going to have no issues with them. Ben Studio, this was their first big AAA title. They're normally we're working on Vita games and stuff, so you got to give them a little bit of slack for that. This is their first big AAA title, and I think it was a really good game for their very first one. As far as having fun with the game, we had a lot of fun with it. It's a fun game. IGN is totally wrong with their review of it. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. I'd say it's about an 8 out of 10 game or 7.5 out of 10 just because of the issues with it. If it didn't have the issues, it'd be 8 out of 10 for sure, but I had some issues with it when I played, so I'd say 7.5 I'd give it on my review. But if I played it and I didn't have the voice issue and I didn't have the voice issue really is what really dropped it down to about 7.5 for me, but I do feel like there's going to be a patch out for that, and people playing it down the road won't even have that experience at all. And another thing I forgot to mention was the hordes. There's going to be hordes around in towns and stuff, and you got to go light them on fire, and then they come out, and to clear the road to make the road safer, and that's really fun as well. That's a really fun aspect about Days Gone. I really enjoyed doing that. And you have to go around to little towns and you do side quests and missions, and the more stuff you do for them towns, the more stuff you can buy from them, and that's fun too, says you can go upgrade all your little towns and stuff too, and that gives you a different reason to go out and play without just doing the main story too. So there's all kinds of incentives to play this game to make it fun. But would I recommend this game? I'd recommend it for sure. I'd say for some people you might want to wait till it goes on sale. If you can get this game on sale for $50, it's a steal. It's a great game for $50. Full price. I still had fun with it. I got my money's worth out of it, but to recommend it as an 8 out of 10 game with the issues, I'd probably say if you want a flawless experience, wait till it goes on sale. You don't be able to buy this digitally or buy it in one of your local stores eventually on sale for about $50, probably $40 in the States. And at that price, it's totally worth it. It was just the small issues that we had. The voice acting, the story with his wife drops off towards the end for me, and the story of his friend, his best friend, continues the whole game. It's a really enjoyable experience. A story for them two. It's just the wife story kind of drops off towards the end. It wasn't as good. That's my thoughts of Days Gone. I hope you guys liked the review, and if you have any comments, if you guys had any issues with Days Gone, or you have any comments at all, just leave them. I love reading your comments. I try to get back 100% in the comments, and that'll be Switch Station 32 here for another video.